Now, collaborating productively. The example that I will show for this is called Safe Fred, and this is from Miss White's life science class back in 7th grade. So what we had to do for this was, okay, first of all, I worked with a student called River, and we had to save Fred, a gummy worm, from a sinking ship, which was actually an overturned cup. And we had to put him into a life-support gummy, and we had to put him on top of the cup. One of the interesting things with this was that we were not allowed to use your hands, but we were allowed to use 2 pairs of paper clips, one for each of us, and that's the only thing we were allowed to touch with our hands. Fortunately, we successfully saved Fred without cheating, so we're very proud we did that. So my initial understanding of collaborating productively was to just work well with somebody. And that's it. I didn't think anything else about it. We use collaborating productively in Save Fred by working with each other to reach the common goal of saving Fred. We diligently work together, we let him follow certain points, we have shown ourselves roles, and in the end, it was just a very great group effort to save Fred. Now, I've grown in using this sustainability skill by actually being able to work with people. Before, I used to, for a lack of a better word, suck at collaborating with people. Like, to be honest, I was like against the idea of working with people. One of the examples of time that I was really bad at this was back in 6th grade in Mr. Holland's history class. So we had to do a group project called Learning to Love You More, and what happened was a disaster. I yelled at my group members every single day, pretty much every single moment. I thought that my group members were stupid and that they didn't know what we were doing, and it was just a disaster to the point where in the end we did not even present our work to class. But after that, I started to turn it around, and one by one, I started to accept the idea of working with people. And right now, I have become somewhat sufficient at collaborating productively. My understanding of collaborating productively has grown a lot over the time. My personal definition now of collaborating productively is to work well with somebody, but to share responsibilities, to take responsibility for certain parts of the assignment, and to assign yourselves some roles or whatever. Or looking out for each other, helping each other out, checking in on each other, and of course, to successfully reach a common goal. One of the epiphanies that I had with collaborating productively came when I worked with River for the first time. This was in 6th grade, Mr. Gift's Earth Science class. That's actually the first time that I actually worked well with somebody. And that opened up my eyes to other collaborations because I knew that I was capable of working well with somebody. The second epiphany that I had was also with River on this Save Fred project. That's the first time I got an understanding of what collaborating productively actually meant. We didn't illustrate it through words, but we illustrated it through our actions. What we did completely defined what collaborating productively meant. Now, River is a very level-headed person to work with. He doesn't really get frustrated at people, he doesn't really yell at people, he's just a very calm person. I know that not everybody is like River, but I at least knew that I can actually work well with somebody. That was a start. And his level-headedness in collaboration has actually carried over into me, and I'm now most level-headed in collaboration, or more level-headed than before, and I'm actually able to collaborate well with people now, so he's had a very huge influence on me. My second exemplar is called Incarceration, and this came from Mr. Holland's history class, Artist History of Art, back in 6th grade. So what I did for this was I created a song called Past Christmas, which was actually a parody of the Christmas classic White Christmas. And my parody reflected the feelings of what a Japanese internee in a German camp felt like. So it reflected the feelings of a person, it reflected the thoughts and wishes of the person and everything. And I also made an entire album jacket to go along with it. Now, this is the picture that I used for the album jacket itself, the front cover. It's somewhere in here, I don't know where it is, but it's somewhere to be found, but this is the picture that I used. And it actually has red is outlining it, so it makes you look a bit gory. It's a very haunting image, to be honest. And I also made a back cover as well. And I've made all of this on an actual album cover. One of the interesting things about this was that I actually made a song in an album cover. And normally people wouldn't really think of those things, but I'm into records and everything, so I created an album cover and I created a song. I'm very passionate about music, so that was a good idea for me. But one of the other interesting things was that people really seemed to appreciate what I did on this project. And this is one of the first times that people seem to have appreciated my project, so I was very proud of that. It made me feel very proud of this project, and this is actually one of my fondest pieces of work. Like, I love this piece of work. It has so much memories in it. So my initial understanding of communicating powerfully, I took it literally from communicating powerfully. I thought that it meant to communicate powerfully. That's it. No flavor, just plain. Basically, I didn't have an understanding in terms of applying to other things. Before, first, I only could apply to presentations, not anything else. So that wasn't really good because it could apply to many things. But I grew in it by being able to apply communicating powerfully to many other things. I learned that I could apply to pretty much anything communication related, like papers, singing, songwriting, or acting, dancing, etc. In any of those things, you could communicate powerfully because you are supposed to get people affected with your performances. I also agree in terms of being able to communicate powerfully in itself, because before, I used to speak in a really unclear way in terms of me talking very fast, and it's just like sort of like very rushed, muttering way. I've improved at that. I can speak sort of clearly now, better than that. Sometimes I do speak too fast, and I hope that this is not a case where I'm speaking too fast. I hope for that. My understanding of communicating powerfully has sort of changed. It hasn't changed much, but now my personal definition is to communicate in a way that will get people affected, but in a clear and understandable way. Because if I speak any gibberish to you right now, like this, like blah, 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 you guys are not going to be affected in such a powerful way. You guys are going to be affected in a way of like, dude, what is this guy doing? And I don't want to do that because that's not communicating powerfully. That's just communicating in a ridiculous way. I don't want to do that. An epiphany that I had with communicating powerfully was back in 6th grade, in the second semester, well, before my first year here, and this was in EQS. I was creating another song, but this one was about water pollution. And that's the first time that I connected something that wasn't a presentation to communicating powerfully. I realized that I could get people affected with a song. Now that triggered me to connect it to other things, like papers or acting, or dancing, etc. I was really connected to every one of those things, and that's what triggered me to do that. Now, looking into my past over here, to be honest, well, basically, so just this picture is me looking into the future. I'm going to Kalani next year, and I'm looking directly towards Kalani in this picture. So it's a clever way to show I'm looking into the future. So basically, I changed from being a closed-minded person to a very open-minded person here. Before, I used to be this stubborn, stuck-up person that would only look at one perspective, and I was a perfectionist, so I would be really stressed with the work that I do, and I would just stress over work, and I would get frustrated, I would have freakouts over my work. I was just a bit of a nightmare, to be honest. But over time, I became a much more open-minded person, and with that, I became a more relaxed person. I wasn't a perfectionist anymore, and I just wanted to do the best work that I can, and that gave me much more breathing space for the work that I do, and I'm just a much more relaxed person now. I can look at many other perspectives. Like it's just made me such a better person. Seeks changed the way that I view my learning by enabling me to know everybody in the school. If I went to a normal middle school, I wouldn't have known like 9/10 of the school. But over here, I know every single individual in some way, and I was very happy to know everybody as some sort of person instead of some sort of alien, and it's just been a beneficial experience for me. Another way it just changed the way I view my learning is through mixed grade classes. Now, it has changed the way I view my learning by basically enabling me to ask more experienced students for help. So if I'm in a normal school, I would have just been in like one grade classes. So there was nobody else that I could really ask for help that had more experience in something. But over here, there was mixed grade classes. So for example, when I was in 6th grade, I may have asked an 8th grade for help on something because he or she may have known the topic more better, and if he or she was not a first year student, he or she would have known more about what the school works like and everything. So that's how it changed. And this can actually carry on into adult life as well, because in work, you may want to ask help from some more experienced co-workers, and this simulates it because there's more experienced students. So it's giving us a very, very good knowledge of what we should do in the future in work. I learn best when I'm in an environment that isn't too noisy, but with a very loose sense to it, with teachers and students that respect all people in the classroom. I don't like noisy environments because it's distracting. I don't like tense environments because it's stressful, and I don't like stressful environments. But I also like when a teacher respects all of us because we know that he or she will not be targeting any of us, and that we will all feel safe. And I want every single one of my fellow students to feel safe in the classroom. But I also like it when my fellow students respect me because I know that they will not do anything bad to me. They will not backstab me, they will not hurt me, they will not bully me or anything. It's just a much more safer environment to be in, to be honest. My philosophy in education has changed now is to let the students do most of the work instead of the teacher doing it. Sometimes teachers explain too much about what we should be doing, and sometimes we catch the information but we don't actually learn about the information itself. Because if we do it ourselves, we actually know what we're doing. We actually can memorize it more easily than when a teacher explains it because we are doing it. But if a teacher gives a lot of information, we're actually really not learning anything. We're just being given information. But if we do it ourselves, it's a much better experience. So I've only mentioned 2 sustainability skills right now, but I'm going to give a brief explanation of how I use the 3 other sustainability skills in school. I've managed effectively when rehearsing for school performances. I have thought systemically by thinking about all the perspectives of a motion during town hall, and I have reasoned analytically when I explain why I'm going for or against the motion in town hall here. But to go more in depth on collaborating productively and communicating powerfully, I'm collaborating productively in school in something that's not in the classroom environment by going to a work day to work with people to get some handiwork done. And I also want to collaborate productively in the future by working well with my caddy for becoming a professional golfer. But I also want to get involved in the autism awareness industry as well, because as you know, I'm an autistic student, so I want to get involved in that. And a way I can collaborate productively within that is to work with children or anybody that has autism to know about their behaviors and their mannerisms, their challenges, and some of the things that worry you to overcome their challenges. So I could get a better understanding of autism and know more about it. I have communicated powerfully in school by speaking during town hall. Yeah, by speaking during town hall, and I want to communicate powerfully in the future by making victory speeches if I win golf tournaments. but I also want to communicate powerfully in the future by making speeches for autism. Because I think that's a very important thing for autism awareness, because if you speak for it, people know more about it. And if I do become famous by becoming a professional golfer, I can spread the message of that. Because if a famous person explains that, then people are more likely to listen to it. And if I communicate effectively and powerfully within that, people understand it more, and people will be likely to listen more to it. That's basically what I've been through here at SEEKS. I've learned a lot of things here. It's giving me experiences that I will carry over into my adult life, high school life, everything. It's giving me knowledge of the sustainability skills, which I will hopefully use in the future. It's giving me knowledge about history, perspectives, open-mindedness, everything. But most of all, it's giving me relationships in life that I will cherish forever. Like, it's going to carry over into my life forever. I will think about it all the time. I will go back to it all the time. And hopefully, I'll be able to create relationships like that in the future, maybe even using the sustainability skills to do so. That has been my portfolio defense. Thank you very much for all of your time. By the way, these are my picture sources, by the way, so that's it. Mr. Collins took the picture of me looking into the future, so.